Welcome back to Backyard Cars, and I'm sure you read in the title, we're getting this joker ready for sick week. 30 days, lots of things to do, so let's get on it. All right, well, I got to move my gauges from down here to up in here. I need my tack up here somewhere, more in my peepers, and I got some other gauges I need to add. You know, street cars do streetcar things and you don't have to worry about it. And race cars do race car things and you don't have to worry about that. But when you make race cars do streetcar things, you got to watch the gauges. Out comes all of this, and I already cheated. I took the dash out and I went up underneath and I used the correct disassembly tools, you know, to make sure everything got disconnected. And now I should just be able to pull out the AC control. There we go. All right, now all this other stuff in here, wiring, don't need that. More wiring, don't need that. Gotta get in here, get out vacuum hoses. Okay. Well, there's some things that are still connected here, but that's okay. Now I think that leaves me with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I think there's a 6-bolt under here, and my whole dash, well, you gotta take the column down. The whole dash should roll forward, and we should be able to get the cluster out. All right, dashboard of the Monte Carlo. And you know, we're working all the technological advancements. We're working them out. Almost have the missiles ready. These two gauges never worked, and so they're just disconnected back in there, along with everything else. So those are going to go. The whole AC control is also going to go, and we're going to move these gauges up here. Stick with me. Up into this area, and we're going to move the tack maybe into where the clock is. I don't know yet. I like to be able to see a speedometer that doesn't work, but could get working. We don't care about the clock. Now, with that said, we're going to cut this dash all the way around. We're going to make a panel with 4 or 5 holes in it where we can see them when we're driving a little better than down there. They're more in our view when we're looking out over the front of the machine. So I think in order to do that, the best plan is to probably just pop the dash out, and we can eliminate the rest of the AC control and maybe even the heater box, and just kind of do away with all the factory wiring that we're no longer going to use. We're going to keep the turn signals, blinker, ignition, and all that. But inside lights and gauges, pretty much all done. These are the only two we're going to save on, and we'll have to put our own lights on the back side of them. All right, I'm trying to shoot you down through the top here. All this AC work here is all going to disappear. We have already rewired the majority of the car through a bus bar in the glove box and relays and whatnot. So really, none of this is even hooked up, to be honest with you. But there's a lot of factory wiring that never got removed. So we're going to go in and figure out, what does this do coming out of that factory harness, and just kind of trim everything down, get rid of things we don't need anywhere through, get into this fuse box here, because, well, we got tinfoil on that one. I'm not sure what we're actually using in here. We're feeding this box from the bus bar and a relay, so let's just eliminate on anything in here that we might miss trying to cut out. You feel me? So I'm probably going to set you up and maybe time lapse the disassembly, or maybe we'll go through the bolt process. I'm not sure. We'll see how it rolls. All right, let's start disassembling and see where we get. I think I want to take the ones out of the bottom first. I don't even know if these are the right ones, but maybe I should get my little zip going. Zip them out. I bet there's one down in the middle that's going to be a pain to get. We got one over here. Where are you? Oh, there's a lot of rust over here. I've been meaning to do this for a long time. So. That was really hard to get to. Okay, we're getting there. I think at this point is where we gotta disconnect things or something like that. Well, I think that is it. I got everything on my wire and pulled off of this, and I should be able to take the dash out as one unit right on out of here. Maybe. Okay, let's see. Okay, yep, we're going. There we go. Out of here. Nope. Well, wouldn't you know, it opened up a bunch of room. Who'd have thunk it? Don't need air conditioning where we're going. Or that fancy box in here. We don't need that either. Apparently, some of these nuts here and over there are still holding the heater box in, and I want it gone. I'm gonna have to put nuts and bolts back through here, those studs or whatever, to hold my wiring now. I thought I had a jazzy little spot for it. Oh, with the bolts! Maybe. Maybe not. Let me have it. It's all got me. What do you got? Let me have it. You want to fight about it, do you? Have I got one up here still? Oh, there we go. That's it. Let's not get hung. Let's not get hung. Okay. What's happening? Is this gotta be? Ah, damn it. What is it? It's hung on something over here. Do I got? Of the Americans. Hey, are we stuck? Okay. Well, for all this hassle, I want to boom you, but I'm not gonna. What do I do with all this now? Do I leave it up there? Let's get it done. Let's just start Let's just start cutting things that we don't need. All right, let me continue to tear things up and get us to a point where we're going to do something different. I got to get this off and all my gauges and all my wiring kind of moved to the side, and then I'm going to thin out the harness and make sure all my gauges are going to make it up here to the cluster where we're going to stick it. All right, y'all. Yesterday, I got pretty far. Oh, I got all my spaghetti wiring and my bus bar all wound up. And you may say, why you got all those loops? Well, that's so that in the event that I have to pull this out from underneath the dash and work on it, I can just clip those zip ties and pull it all the way out here, you know, and I'm not sitting under the dash. Anyhow, I got all that, and then I went through the wiring harness that went all the way across from this side over to here. And as you can see, I thinned it out, and I electrical taped all the things, and I got rid of everything I knew I could get rid of. I'm not sure what this is, or this relay here. So we're just going to leave them for now, but all this is, you know, when the dash gets back in there, this gets set up like that anyhow. So that's good. And then this is all my gauges and stuff coming from inside the firewall. And then this is a trigger for keyed ignition. And I'm going to run this over here to a relay that gets power directly from the bus bar to feed all of the lights and gauges and everything. Well, not the lights. The lights are going to happen from the parking switch. This is going to feed all my gauges and something else. This is just going to be the 12-volt trigger that feeds it all right here. So if the gauges die, I know it's real simple. All the charging system and all that runs independently. So none of that comes through here. The only thing that comes through this fuse box is the lights and windshield wipers. And my ignition's keyed through it, you know, so I can use the key. All right, I got all the screws out of there and around the sides and down underneath it and everywhere they're at. Now it just comes out. And we got to do some dissecting to this and see if we can't clean everything up and something else. Clean everything up and then see if we can't mount our tack up in here. Probably not. All right, bear with me on the shake, but here we go. We pulled the dash, obviously, got everything tore apart, and then we just hit this with some VHT plastic heat paint or whatever for under your engine stuff, you know, for your, not sponsored, but that's what we used. It's for the engine bay plastics. Matte finish, so it shouldn't, it's shining, but it shouldn't. And then we just went back in and kind of cleaned up and cut our space out for our gauge panel. You know, just freshened it up a bit. And I'll show you a second here. A lot of people paint these, and that's good. You get the enamel paintbrush out and do the model paint thing. I just used a Sharpie, silver Sharpie. You know, I'll show you on this and a little bit over here in a second when I get it moved. And then we went through the cluster also. And I cleaned the glass, and I tried my best to clean the bezels or the faces. This one's pretty tore up. And there's really not much I can do. I'm not good enough to get in there with a Sharpie. But we went in and we added some LEDs because none of the lighting in any of this works. So I put LEDs here and some LEDs in the turn signal things, and we did all we could do. I took this lens off and I used 800, 1500, and 3000 sandpaper, and then buffed it with some polish for your car. And that tends to do a pretty good job. And I did a quick one, so there's still some scratches here or there I could have got out if I want to be perfect, but I can see the cluster now. It looks much better, and it's going in a race car, so who really cares? And again, on these old GM, I tore this thing up pretty good doing this because this is very brittle stuff when it's been in the car for so long. So on the back of these old GMs, they got a laminated copper trace, you know, flexible board that goes in here, and that was destroyed. And they want like 150 bucks for it, so I'm not spending that. So I just came back in and hardwired a couple little things we need. Lights, really. 4 or 5 different wires for lights and my fuel gauge. Bam, done. And this, it ain't gonna last 20 years. I'm sure something will go wrong, and then you have to come in here and cut a light out or whatever the case may be. But for the next 5 years, this will be just fine for the old junker that it's going in. And of course, I used the Dremel and cut all of the clock out, because on this panel, I'm going to put the tack in this hole. And I tried to get it to mount in the faceplate and sit behind everything, and there was just nothing I could mount it to. So it's actually going into this hole and is going to stick out a little bit. But oh well, it is what it is. We got a tack on the dash in my view. So I guess at this point, what we're waiting on now is we got to flip the dash over and set up something to sit it on so we don't mess up our paint right away, and get the cluster back in, and then we'll turn around and get it set back in here and wire the cluster to the old plug. I depinned and marked all those out, and get it all set back up. All right, so like I was saying, sometimes you can paint these rings. Sometimes you want to paint those rings. Sometimes you just need something quick and fast. So a brand new silver Sharpie works really good, but you can just come right in here and trace that ring out with it. And boom, it's done. Now, my hand was shaky on some of these because I was going too fast. I didn't care. But just that easy, and you got the rings. It also works really good on a lot of different things. Like when you're trying to get real defined, definitive places. Like, hey, I want to get my... It also works good on letters. You can go in there with the letters and just skim the top. And boom. Redefine, like brand new. So, little tip for the tricksters out there, you know? Alright, so here we go. I had to just stick it back together. I went to set everything up and get the camera, and there was garbage trucks and noise, and all this stuff's broke, so I had to do a little bit of off-camera, you know, jerry-rigging to make sure everything stays together. And my little homemade wiring. You know, it is what it is. You're not spending money on that thing, you know? It's a race car. It don't need fancy stuff. So everything's in it. And we can see from the front, it's kind of what it's going to look like there. So I'm going to set you up now, and we're going to stick it back into the car. See, I think that's what I did, is I rested it there so that I could hold her up. And what I need to do now is I need to set it here on my knees. If I could get my knees in. Probably can't. I got stuff all over my floorboard. I'm going to make a mess. I thought I was more prepared to put this back in, but I forgot I actually have to do some wiring over here, I think, before I can slide this where I need it. Okay. I got a big problem there. Oh, there we go. The speedo cable. Hopefully that'll line up for us. Yeah. here. Main panel for holding it up. You get a couple threads into that. Maybe this one fits it. Oh, it does. All right. There's one up under the center of the column here that goes into the back of the cluster or whatever. I'm gonna have to get a better angle on that. Oh, whew. That's not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. I thought that angle was gonna be horrible, but it's usable. I'll take it as acceptable. So now I got a little bit more wiring to finish off. Gotta get some things popped back through my dash that I probably shouldn't have popped through that way. Everything's just falling apart on me. I gotta wire up some things, but we got the main bit in here. Let me get a couple stupid things done and we'll bring you back when we're putting on the face panel and finishing things up. All right, we're losing light. We're losing light fast, but I finally got the dash wired up and everything hooked up like it's supposed to be. Now we'll try and get the pad to sit back on here halfway decently. Oh yeah, that looks excellent, doesn't it? I mean, better than it did. You know what I'm saying? I might find some screws to screw into that pad to keep her down, but now I got to put a panel in here. But I got everything wired back up, so when I hit my parking lights, boom, I got parking light stuff happening. All right, that's great. And when I hit my key, I got gauge stuff. That's sweet. All right. I mean, I'm losing light, but that is pretty sick. All right, the shot in the dark, key on, so you can see the gauges there. They're going to be in a panel up here. I got the panel cut somewhere, but I got to keep working for it. Yahtzee there, and then, of course, let me shut this off so the fan ain't running. All the lights are up here now hooked to the, well, I mean the tack, when you turn the key on, the tack turns on. But these lights you can now see work and light everything up. I think I missed a spot right here, a piece of black that goes in there that covers that. But that turn signal actually works now too. Well, it did a minute ago. Oh, there we go. I didn't have a key on. Sweet. Where's my button here? Outstanding. And now it's too dark to see anything, so we'll have to finish up tomorrow, but my back porch light just kicked on. But that's not too bad, huh? Quick little turnaround. It's all right. There goes our finished product with the cluster in, and all these light up. This is for later on. I might put an air fuel gauge there just to keep an eye on that. Maybe not. I don't know. I'll probably put a sticker over it for now. Coming soon. But it turned out not too bad, you know. It don't look too shabby, and everything works as I showed you. But this is just a cheap piece of tin, you know, that I cut some freehand, cut some holes out, and cut. I mean, it was just cheap, just something free to hold some gauges up here, so they're more in my view as I'm, looking out of the car. And of course, we'll get on the eject seat because everybody needs that. You never know who's riding with you. You just need them out of the car. But I mean, I got the wheel on, so it's kind of hard to see everything now. But it turned out all right. I mean, much better than it was, and I got the dash screwed in, and well, now I can work on some other things. Where's my keys? I know, you already seen it all laid up and all that. Not too shabby, huh? It looks a little bit professional. I know these are only light up when I pull the parking lights, but alright, now I think we're gonna end the video here. Next thing we gotta do before sick week is get the trans temp gauge hooked up and our evac kit hooked to the catch can. We got to build a trailer too, and I think we only got like 3 weeks left, so this ought to be fun. But I appreciate you guys watching, and go down there and comment and do something, like all those good things, and we'll see you next time. I know you thought I was just gonna go out without a little bit of rumble from the big block. No. But go down there and do the thumb thing. I mean, listen to this. It'll make you want to do the thumb thing. Appreciate you guys watching.